6-speed manual 4 as a 7-speed DCT, and my god, what a difference! Gravity dictates that whatever goes up must come down as well, and this is true in our lives also. You could be a government, a top athlete, a movie star, and several things would have worked. But then one day something didn't work and suddenly you're no longer in the field. Today, I am driving such an icon. The car that made the SUV in the mid-size SUV segment, the Renault Duster. This is not just the Duster, it's the Duster Iconic. And Iconic means this is the absolute top-of-the-line model in the range. When they announced the pricing, man, I was blown away. It starts from as low as rupees 10.5 lakh and goes all the way up to rupees 18 lakh, which is not only undercutting some of its most capable and most popular rivals in the segment, it is also taking the customer back to something that they have begun to forget. All of us, when buying cars today, this is among the last things that we look at. And this is the first thing the Duster looks at, the driving experience. Some of you may already know that this 160 horsepower engine was co-developed with Mercedes-Benz, and it is currently doing duty in the GLA. So I made the mistake of actually driving that car before coming here. Although it seemed like a great idea at that time, now I'm beginning to regret it because I have arrived at the Duster drive with some expectations. For example, in the Mercedes, that engine is quick, the turbo wakes up very early, and it is very keenly focused on performance. Over here, that is not the case. The turbo wakes up just around 2500 RPM, and before that, it is very difficult to believe that this engine actually makes 160 horsepower. But then, once you cross 2500 RPM, then it wakes up like nothing else and you can fully enjoy the dynamics of this car. But that said, why the big difference? What is the differentiator? The differentiator is the GLA petrol engine is not refined at all. In fact, I would recommend buying the diesel engine over the petrol one in that car. Over here though, the engine is supremely refined. I can barely hear it inside the cabin. There are no vibrations at the steering wheel or in the cabin itself. And the general NVH levels are also very, very good. I get very little road noise, very little wind noise, and very little ambient noise. And in all honesty, this cabin feels like that of a car from a segment above. I've just swapped the 6-speed manual 4 as a 7-speed DCT, and my god, what a difference! In this car, I can feel all of the 160 horsepower. I don't doubt it at all. And it's a huge world of difference because the throttle response has become sharper, the power delivery is more urgent, and this car pulls like a train. Now I'm going uphill and I'm overtaking people with no effort. In the manual, I had to do a bit of planning, but here, nothing. However, it is not all perfect. This 7-speed DSG in automatic mode is very good. Yes, overtakes and all are done with ease, but then it is not as quick to shift through the gears in automatic mode as it is in manual mode. Now you might ask, why don't you just leave it in manual? And that is the exact problem. Right now, this car is in manual mode. I put it in 4th gear. And now I'm not touching the pedal for a while. There, literally, it has gone back into automatic mode. That is one thing that Renault needs to fix because it's a transmission with great potential. I must say this is one of the most mechanical and tactile rich gearboxes in the segment right now. I mean, it is closest to the Honda Elevate and the Hyundai Creta N-Line. I mean, I'm getting a similar experience and a similar vibe of this gearbox as well. The ratios are not very short, but they are not too tall either. It's a very good mix. And when you're doing overtakes in hilly regions like these, 3rd gear and 2000 RPM might not cut it. You'll have to come down to 2nd gear. The Duster is the most powerful car in its segment, all good, but then the performance is not what I really appreciate about this machine. It's the handling. Right now, this car is running on 18-inch wheels, and the steering I have set up in the heavy mode, which is one of two. You can either have it in soft or in heavy. I've used the personal driving mode and set it to heavy along with engine tune in comfort. Do note, there is no sport mode. But even then, the Duster is extremely enjoyable because of its very capable chassis. It transmits a lot of feedback to the driver. So when I'm turning into a corner, I can feel exactly what the road is and how much wheel angle I have. And similarly, when I brake to slow down, I can set it at just the right speed for a corner, and that is what elevates the entire driving experience. Now, this is a belief that is as old as time, that Renault make great suspension. And they do. It's a fact. I mean, this one also has very, very good suspension. Right now, it is noticeably firm, yes, but then to really appreciate it, you have to be somebody who enjoys driving, because earlier in the hilly sections, we were going at about 70-80 kilometers an hour around corners, and this mid-size SUV was largely flat through the curve. And in addition to all of the other mechanical feedback I spoke about earlier, again, adds very positively to the driving experience. And that, I think, is genuinely lacking in some of the new cars in the market today. That said, there are a few more differences between the manual and the DCT, primarily in cabin insulation. That car was extremely quiet when compared to this one. In this, I can hear a fair amount of engine noise and road noise and tire noise. It's not a deal breaker, but there is a notable difference between the two transmissions. If you really enjoy the motions of driving, then you have to get the manual. But if outright performance is what you want, then no doubt about it, get the DCT. Back here, it's not good news for tall people. This seat is adjusted to my height, 6'1", and what is legroom?
Here I come.
What is knee room? Some amount of headroom, and for all of you guys, yes, there is a big panoramic sunroof here. Take the sunroof, it has it, okay. And an armrest. The floor is quite high. I can see a transmission tunnel in the middle over here, which proves that yes, it has all-wheel drive capability, but then this is not a car that you want to sit in the back seat of. It's not particularly comfortable. Okay for short rides, but not for long distances. To understand the space in the boot, you must understand the size of the bag. And this is the bag in question. It is a standard airline cabin bag, the ones that they force you to check in when you walk into the plane. I have one more inside. Now this one goes in like that and sits right there, and as you can tell, there's room for one more row of this behind. So up to 8 of these bags can be stored inside, and nothing as frugal as closing the lid. One press of a button and it closes. If you stayed until the end of the video, here's something very special for you. This car is already equipped to take all-wheel drive. Renault is saying that if there is enough demand, they will bring all-wheel drive in a flash. But then there has to be demand, because the last time, the Duster's all-wheel drive had sold for 5% of its entire market share. That's not enough. So ask for it, buy it, and you will have it. This is Joshua Verghese signing off for MAT.